a bit low, iko chini sana.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so brief introduction of myself. So it's third year athletes for that. Looking forward to learn more on this Git and GitHub and a bit of HTML and CSS.
Okay, Ngitich, even though we can't hear you, the thing maybe we can hear is that you introduce yourself. So that was Gideon Ngitich. I think there's a problem with the mic. We can't hear him that well. So he's a Microsoft student ambassador and software engineering student third year. Dennis, now you can officially introduce yourself because at that time uko tunaongea tu. Dennis Kaduri.
Oh, okay. Sorry, K-boy. So my name is Washira Dennis, a computer science student, Kirinyaga University as well, and also a Microsoft run student ambassador. And I'm happy for those who are joining this meeting, and hope we shall take home something to learn from this event. Back to you, K-boy.
Okay, thank you so much, Dennis Kaduri, for the introduction. So my name is Brian Kimboy. I'm a third year student. I pursue software engineering and I'm passionate on web development. And I'm also a Microsoft Learn student ambassador. And as long as we continue to learn, these are the things that we'll continue to mention. So about our program and how you'll be able to apply for it. So today we want to cover the basics of HTML, just to learn what is HTML and how you can use them. And then we're learning almost two things at the same time because I saw that we're almost at week 7 of our academic of our semester, and we have so many things to cover. So that's why we love to like try and do so many things in a day. And thanks also for filling in the forms for the mentorship groups. So now after we learn these things, my expectation is that after I have now placed everybody in the group, you'll now be able now to meet one-on-one because that will be easier. So now we are facing a challenge of having a venue whereby we can host our session as a whole. But with the small groups now, you can now find a place of where we can now sit and also discuss what we have been learning. So, okay, thank you. We'll start with HTML. And for the first years, I know this might be something new, but for the rest of the students, these are the things that you might have find it in class being taught of what HTML is. So from just the basics of what HTML is. So me, I always look at HTML like the normal composition that you written in high school. Like there was a way of how you could write that composition. Like you could start with the headings of the title of that composition. Then you just come to the subheadings. Then you have the paragraphs, and at the end of it, you hit the conclusion. So by just saying what HTML is like, you're structuring to develop something. So now, now taking the scenario of a composition paper. So let's now take it into what it is exactly. So this is the structure of HTML, of how you can structure documents. So HTML is a document whereby you want to structure a page. So at any time when you feel that my internet is slow, please be free to unmute and then tell me that my internet is running low, that you can't hear. And I would like to share the screen. Let me share the screen. So somebody confirm that they can be able to see my screen.
Yes, the screen is visible.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you so much. Okay. So whenever also you have a question, you can raise up your hand, or you can send some chat on the message on the chat. So okay, for example, now what I want to mean about an HTML. So we can see here is the e-citizen portal, and you can see there's so many things like that's implemented here. So by talking about HTML is there are so many systems or websites that you interact with each and every day, like the student portal, the e-citizen portal, for instance. They're all written in an HTML document behind it. So HTML is just to give a structure. Like for example, on the top here we have something called a navbar, and then there's some text which are too large. You can call them the subheaders or headers. Then you can see how they are being grouped. Like these are paragraph, like how you should write in your composition. Those are paragraphs. And then now these paragraphs are split, so we can call this one section. Then down here you can find, or up here you can find another section. So you can see how these things are being done. So we just cover the basics of it, but you can't style it today. So we'll just be covering like what this HTML really does for us and why it is very important. So I'll be now going to my Visual Studio Code because I'll demo everything in the VS Code. Okay, I'll open my Visual Studio Code. Let me just like start up everything because for startup and that. So what I did, let me just close everything. So what I did is that just create a folder on my desktop. I called it web dev. So after opening this, you can see there's nothing inside, so it's just empty. So I'll just open it with Visual Studio Code. So Visual Studio Code is an editor that I told you to install, and I also give you a tutorial that would help you how you could install it. Okay, thank you. In here now, we want to create a file because once you have a folder, now you have some files inside the folder. So here we have so many things. So this icon here is used for files. The other one here is used for folders. So let me just create one for files. Let me call this index.html. So this is how you write an HTML file. You first start with the name, so I'm just calling it index, but the .html part is very important. So I can also create multiple files. I can just come here and say, let me call this footer or header. So you can see you can have so many files of HTML in the same folder. Let's just focus with one, so let me get rid of this. So the index of HTML. So let's just begin with the normal things that the basic things that you can start with it. So the HTML, we have things known as the tags. Tags are the things that are used to structure our documents. So let me call it a document because HTML is a document by itself. So let me just start with the word HTML. So HTML tags, so HTML. So this is an HTML tag. You can see that here we just open a tag known as HTML and we are closing a tag known as HTML. So what's the difference here? So the difference is that the first one, you just HTML that is closed with the angle brackets, and then the second one has, let me call this a backtick or something like HTML file. So inside the HTML, now you can now start and writing other attributes of that HTML. So and this my copilot just disturbing. So let me now go to the heading. So like now the head of an HTML. So inside the head, now we can take this like any other document when you're writing on paper. So there's always the heading and then the body and then the conclusion of the footer. So inside the heading, let me have the title. So let me just write here the title. So you can see that the Visual Studio Code can fill this for you. So you can say now you learn web dev. So after that, the heading, now we want now to have the body. So like now after completion of writing a heading of something, now we want to write the body. So you can just say that body. So the body now is where now you start writing the various things. So inside the body, you should write the paragraphs or different sections of that. So let's just have a paragraph for that. Or before the paragraph, let me just come here and just type the H1. H1 is a heading, and H1 starts from from H1 to H6. So when I say H1, it's a very big text. Let me try that and then we demo how it looks like. So we can say my header. So we have H1 to H6. So we can go to the second one known as H2. Sorry for that. H2. So we have let's say also my header. So until H6. So let me just repeat this and then we can just see how they will look. So H3, H4, H5, 6. Okay. Let me just do this. So I'm changing them to different. I'm sorry, so I can't do that. So H3, this will be H4. So header 4, and then we have H5 for header 5, and then we have the last one that is H6 for header 6. So let me save the work. So the way that you will now run this fellow, you want to use this to show what you've been doing. You can go back to the folder that you created. So this is the folder that you created. So you can see this name, but the name is index. That shows this where the code is. So when I double click it, you can see what you've been writing now there. My header 1. So header 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can see that the header 1 is so bigger than header 2 and the rest. So that's the header tag, the H1, the H1 to H6 tags. So let's learn what's the paragraph. So let me just comment this. So to comment, so this is how you can comment by having let me call it, that's a bracket, not a bracket, an angle bracket, yes. Then we can have an exclamation mark. We can have the two hyphens. You can see that it's now a comment. When I say a comment, those things will not apply in our document. Let me say this is a comment. When I save this, it can't show in the browser. You can see when we save, you can see nothing will be available because I've commented that code. So when I say these are paragraphs, so these are p tags. So you can say this is a paragraph. Paragraph. So these are p tags. So let me refresh the page. You can see how a paragraph tag performs its work. So there are so many tags that you can cover, but that you'll have to learn so that you can have the basic foundation of how to write an HTML document. So let me now share something more advanced, like how can we arrange these things, the H1 tags, the P tags. So there are so many tags that you can use. So there's something known as a div. A div is like a division, like or something like a section. So we have a div. A div can now have multiple, you can now use a div. For instance, demonstrating it from the e-citizen photo that we had. So you can see this color, which kind of like I don't know, this is purple or whatever color. You see the different colors. So this is a div by itself. So we have another second div down here. You can see even the image by itself, it's in its own div. This is also a div. Like divs are used to separate different things. They'll help you when you now come to style them. Now, if I'm to say I'll be having a paragraph or saying this is a paragraph, and let me just write a very long paragraph. So I can say lorem ipsum, and I have a very long paragraph here. So you can just go there, then refresh the page. You can see it gives me a very long paragraph. So same now, if I wanted to have another div, you can see where this div ends. Maybe let me just increase the fonts. Is it visible to everybody or the fonts are so small? Anybody confirm from the call? Nobody's communicating. I'm asking if you can be able to see everything that I'm typing.
Yes, we can see.
David, from the phone
Okay.
we can see.
So okay, we can see that's good. So now let's talk about another, like now having different divs. You can see these are div and it ended here. So this is another div that I'm having and it ends here. So we can have another div and it has some other elements. So and tag is an element. So let's say now these are divs. So
Yes, we can see, but not enlarge it.
so somebody is communicating. Is that pressure?
Yeah, and anasema you can increase the font size of your
Font size.
VS Code.
Okay. Okay, I mean, let me just increase the fonts.
You can just use Control plus kwa button itaongezea tu.
Okay. But those are two that I think that's better.
Yeah, it's okay now.
Okay, so this is my H2 tag. So I want now to show you how you can now run these files. So rather than me having going back to the folder and running the document itself, so we can have them running them on a live or live server. So what you can do, I want you to go to your extensions. If you can see this thing over here, this is an extension. When you go here, you can just go and look for live server. So live server will enable you like to run HTML files. So these files are HTML or CSS files and JavaScript files are live on a server that's given on you, given to you in the VS Code. So you have something like live server. See, you have to just install it and you'll be having it running. So when I say live server, you just come down here. You can see the icon here, go live. So just go live. And you can see that whatever we have been writing or coding is now available for us. So now I'll not now be refreshing the page like how I was doing over here. So you can see I had to refresh the page so that you can see the changes that we had made. But for the live server, it always refreshes whenever we do anything. So thank you for that. Okay. I want us now to start coding a very simple thing on HTML just to now demo the different tags that we have. Then after now having the simple HTMLs that we will cover, now we will now dive into Git and GitHub. So okay, let me show you now how you can generate all the sample the HTML code without starting from fresh. You just have the exclamation mark. So once you have the exclamation mark and hit enter, you can see it generates you some rebuilds or some boilerplates that you can start with. So okay, let me now define everything for you. So we have the doc type. So doc type is used to tell you that what version of HTML are you writing. So at this moment we are writing the HTML version 5. So that's the HTML version that we're using. So the second one here is an HTML tag. I think this is the one that we've written. So the HTML tag is just to initialize where it starts. Like a HTML tag encloses everything. So you can see the second one is a language, and that it says the language of this HTML document is English. You have the header. The header is containing the title, the metadata, and everything that you see on the top here. So like this, like the heading of a document. You can see like the title of this document. So the title tag has a document itself. So you can say here that my first project. So this is the title of our project. So and then we have the meta. The meta is used to give the data about the document. So like for example, this is the child set. It tells that we're using the UTF-8 character to write this document. Then we have the second meta for giving us the name that it will take. The viewport is like the screen of your device, and it will take all the width of that screen of your device. So let this not bother you so much because they're the things that they will also generate for you. But the most important one is the title, and they are all included in the header tags. So let's now get into the body and now start writing something that we can use to learn. So, okay, let me just share all the tags that we have because we have so many of them. You can see I just got up to tags. We cannot cover everything, so I'm sorry, what am I doing? Here they are. Let me just copy them and have them on the chart. Okay, and another place where you can be able to revise all these tags is, or learn all these things on the W3 schools. Whenever you go there and just search for HTML and just learn, whenever you're a beginner, you can see, you can start learning everything from scratch, like what is HTML, and you can see, you can try it by itself. So we have another place where you can learn these things. And what the things that we're talking about are the tags, like for example, the HTML paragraphs, the headers, these are the things that we've talked about. And now we can also have the free code camp, is where you can just also go there and learn so many things. So these are the links that I'll provide for you so that you can be able to go there and learn so many things. So you just go there, you learn for free, and then you'll be able now to have everything. So this is where we all started, the W3 schools and the free code camp. So let's continue. Okay, let's just write a random project. So whereby we'll be having the headers, the heading, we'll be having the paragraphs, we're having the image, and then we lastly close with the form. So by that project, or a very small project of HTML document, I will be able to have covered some of the tags, and I'll be good to get started. So let's start with the H1 tag. So you can just say that, let me tell somebody, welcome to my website. So you see, so this is the first tag we have. Maybe I should include it in a div, because that's something we have said. So like everything to be its own division. So let's include it in a div, and inside that you can have that H1. So okay, now the second thing that you can have is now like after the heading. So let's say the project I'm having like a portfolio website, like just to tell people who I am. So the second thing that you can have, let me just comment and say that let's have something like a description. So let's say description about me. So a description about me, I would just also want to have it in a div. And inside that div, I will now want to have a paragraph. Or first of all, let me have an H2 that will be smaller than the H1, saying about Kimboy. Then now we'll be having a paragraph. And now inside the paragraph, now you can be able now to write some text about yourself. So you can say, my name. So just some small text. Then we can be having so many things about me. So let me just write some text. So I've added some more text about me. So these are just some random text. So these are the things that you've already discussed. Okay, something else I would just also want to mention is the images. So before the images, let's just preview what we've been doing. So this is where our HTML file was. You can see, welcome to my website. So, and it looks very ugly when just writing HTML, but don't worry. As we go forward, we'll now learn how we can style these pages to look good for others to see. So you can see about Kembo is an H2 tag, and then now we have the first line that I had. So you can see now by splitting into different paragraphs. So we had the first paragraph of explaining my short description about me, and then the other paragraph now holds other descriptions also about me. So you can see this is the longest one. So let me tell you how you can break this, because in website you can never find a text that starts from this end to the other end. So we have something known as a breaking line. So when to break a line in HTML, so you can just come here and use this tag known as BR. BR will just break this line, then start from a new line. So you can just have the BR here. here, here. So when you go and see it, you can see it now breaks all the lines so that this can look even much better. Okay, let's now discuss how I can add an image to this HTML document. So okay, discussing about an image. So if I want to add an image, so I'll just come here because I want to arrange everything in my HTML file. So I'll just come into the folder you can see here, and I name it images. Okay, so after naming it images, I'll now find an image and then insert the image over there. So let me just download an image and then place it there. Don't even have an image in here. You just copy and paste it inside there. Okay. Let me just get into this folder. I think I'll have an image. Yeah, I have an image, so I'll just copy. Go to the desktop. Where was our folder? It was here, web dev. So I'll go to the images folder that I created and then just paste it over there. So whenever I go to my Visual Studio Code, to the images, you can see the image that I've pasted it over there. So this is the image. So I can name the image for the purpose that we shall be using. So you can see, let me rename it. So let me just name it group something, yeah, whatever. Okay, let's now learn how you can have an image on our website. So because I just demonstrated or I just shown you how the eCitizen portal looks like, and you can see we have images. So all these images are also added in an HTML document. So to add an image, we'll have a tag known as img. So this is an image tag. So whenever you just type img, it means that's an image, and then you have to give the source where this image is located. And then the alt is the attribute. Whenever we don't see this image, what will be shown? So to include the image of just /, then you can see we have the images folder and then the group photo, group.jpg. So this is the these are image. So I've now gone to where it's located. So it's just saying that it's located inside the images folder, which is here on the top, and then / group, the name of the photo itself. Then the alt attribute is also important whenever this image is not available. I think we've also been into some websites whenever you go there and then you don't find an image. So you can just find something saying, hey, this is a cat, this is a tree. So you can say this is a group photo. So the group photo will only be available, or will only show whenever the image does not show on our web page. So you can just go and see that image here. So you can see this was our document, and we can now see our photo is now uploaded, or it has been shown on our document itself, and it's too large. Okay, today we're not learning about how to style it, but I think we can give a width of 500 pixels just to make it small, and also a height. I think by naming it a width, it should just make it smaller. You can see this is our image, and yeah, we look good. This is our website. So this is how website starts. This is how developers start developing or building and developing our website or developing a project. They just start from an HTML document. Before everything, now they'll start saying, okay, this looks so ugly. Let's add some colors. But today we're not going to add any color. Okay, so let me close this in a div because we said we want to enclose everything in a div, so that whenever you'll be writing this your projects or whenever you'll be doing anything, it's good to always arrange your work so that you cannot be having things everywhere that you can't even know where it started, where it ended. So you cannot, in this document of ours, we can see that we have a body, and inside the body, we now be having different divs inside our body. You can see that this body just only holds the paragraphs. This body here holds the image. And yeah, that's good to go. So it's also good to structure yourself. So whenever you don't structure yourself or you just don't organize your work, it would be hard for you to know where a tag begins and where it ends. So it's good for you to just be organized in writing your HTML documents. Okay, something else I want to cover is the anchor tag, or the tag that whenever you are on any web page, it redirects you to another web page. I think you've been into search websites. Whenever, like when you click certain links, it takes you to other pages. So those are known as the anchor tags. Okay, am I still audible? Somebody confirm? Okay, am I alone? Okay, somebody's asking, how do you add an image? Okay, thank you. So if I'm audible, you can also confirm in the chat, because I don't want to be left alone, like talking, and then maybe you're not hearing me. Okay, adding an image. So let me just comment this line, and then now add the image once again, because somebody's asking how I got to add the image. So the first thing that I did is that I created this folder. Okay, somebody is telling me I'm very clear. Thank you. So what I did is just create a folder. So just come up here, just create a folder. I'm sorry, let me add a folder in the right place. So you come here, just add a folder. You can say my image folder. So like that, after adding the image folder, you can see the image folder is empty. So I went to an image, you can just go there, copy an image like how I did, then come there and then paste that image. So when I paste that image, you can see the image now is available inside that folder. So, and it's always good to have all your images here and not having the images from your computers or from different directories. So it's good to have your images inside the same folder that you're working in. Okay, let me just delete this because this is a duplicate. So how I added the image in the image tag. So I just wrote the img tag, just press enter. So it tells you, hey, provide the source. Where can I find the image? You can go for it by saying, okay, I want you to go to the slash images folder. By saying that, just say, hey, can you move to the images folder? And then pick, you can see it just tells me this for an image there known as the group group.jpg jpeg jpeg photo. You can see this how you can add an image. So at sometimes adding this slash over here gives you, it might not display it. So that's why I got rid of it, then just give the alt attribute over here. This is a group photo. So that's how you can add an image. Okay, thank you. So let's now go to the anchor tags. How you can use anchor tags. So anchor tags is that let me just demo it by writing. So this how you can write an anchor tag is just an A tag. So just write the A, rather than for me just clicking and tapping on it. So just saying like A tag, then you have to give the href. Href is the hyperlink itself, where you give the link of whatever you want. Like for example, this. Now I want to, when you want to tell somebody, hey, you want to visit like google.com, just have to tell that person, whenever you click Google here, it will take you to google.com. So this is where you use anchor tags. Okay, let's just go and see how it works. So I think it's below here. Let me just check friend, so that you can be able to see, and also name this as an H1. You can see here, I can be able to say name equal H2. When I say H2, I can raise Google. Nice. Let's go and view it. You can see the Google that we wrote. So you can see whenever, but when I click on it, it will load another page. It will go to google.com. You can see. So this how anchor tags are always implemented or are always used on web pages. So, but if whenever you don't want somebody to go away from your website, you can now say is it always blank, so that it can open it on a different on a different tab. It's always blank. Somebody remind me, whenever you want it to open in a different tab. Dennis, why am I forgetting that? Okay, whenever I remember it, I'll just tell you how, like, say that whenever somebody clicks on a hyperlink like this, it won't like load it on your website, but it takes them to a different page. Okay, so we've covered so many things. So let me just go wrap up on writing a list. Then after that, we'll now cover the basics of HTML and basics of Git and yeah, the target blank. That's it. That's what I'm looking for. So you say over, you just say targets and then blank there. So let me just go there and click on Google, and you can see it opens it on a different tab, but not on the website that I was building. So these are good practice so that people cannot be going away from your project. Or now, by directing others to different websites, they can go there and be interested in it and they'll never come back. So it's good to redirect them to the new tab. Good. Okay, let me now finish up with a list. So maybe I want to tell these people that the things that are on my hobbies. So I can just come here, have a div, and say, inside my div, I can say H3, my hobbies. So inside my hobbies, I can want to name the many hobbies that I have. So let me just comment and say hobbies, or not hobbies, a list. So we have different lists. We have the ordered list and we have the unordered list. When we talk about ordered list, is the list that starts from 1, 2, 3, like it's ordered in there's a way in which they are arranged. And then an ordered list, you can have them in bullets. Let's start with an ordered list. So we just start by saying an ordered list is UL. You can see everything, you just open a tag and then close that tag. So an ordered list, and then now we'll be having the list itself. Yeah. So inside the list, we can say my first hobby is let me say coding, even though not everybody likes to code. And then the second one, I can say singing. Second hobby I have so watching movies. And I can say my last hobby is playing football. Nice. So my unordered list, then we give the list. That's it. So let's preview what we have. You can see here we have my hobbies, and then this is an ordered list. You can see we have them in bullets. But what is ordered list? So when I say an ordered list, let's just use it here. You can say ordered list is OL. That stands for ordered list. And we can copy paste the same list items over here. You can see when I say an ordered list, it will start them like 1, 2, 3, 4, and so and as it goes down. So this list is ordered, this other list is unordered. So those are the things I wanted to cover. Let me just finish up writing a form. So I want to tell somebody, hey, I want you to contact me. So there's a form that you always fill on websites or so that you can submit. So I think there's a text. Yeah, okay, that was Dennis Otoma. Thank you, Dennis. Okay, let me finish up with a form. Like, how can you write a form? And then the assignment I will give is like, how do you write a table in a HTML document? So that will be an assignment for you, so that next week we'll be able to now to see what are the things that you've done, and these things we'll be able to do it in groups and also going through what you've learned today. So let's start with writing a form. So to write a form, you just write a form. So a form has an action, but we will not be talking about action. Actually, we will implement it whenever we may be able to use this form with your backend or to perform something. But today we're just writing just a form, a basic form, like how you can input your first name, last name, your age, your email address. You can see those kind of things, just a simple form. So you just say a form, and a form has an opening tag and a closing tag. I don't know if we've covered something that has no closing tag, not yet. So there's always other tags that you just open and you don't close, and there's other tags that you open and close. For a form, you just have to open it and close to ensure that you tell where the form starts and where the form ends. So a form has a label, so you can say the label for name, and you can say first. You can say label for first name. For first name, you can say this is first first name, so that people can be able to fill it. And then after that, the next thing that follows is writing an input. So you can say input. So by writing input, you can see it gives you that by default it's a text, that a name is a text. So we can also have an input having a name, just naming that input. You can say the name of that input is first name, and then giving an ID. An ID will be used to when you want to perform certain action or you want to check the value of that input. So giving an ID also, let's say first name, and then I think that is it. So this an input tag has no closing tag, so you can say just open it and just close it over here. Not like any other, not like those other tabs whereby we had to open it and then close it. So let's go to the second one of the second name. So we can go to the next line and then now give the one for last name. So exactly the same thing, label for last name, and then give the label. Then we now give the input for last name. You say it's type text, name last name, the ID is last name. Let's break the lines in the next line. So the last one, no, not the last one, we're taking the email. So we have the label for email, and the name will be email. So what we'll be taking from a user is an input type email. You can see there's a difference between input type text and we have the input type email. So the name of our input is email, the ID is email. So you can see it's repetitive and it's the same. So something else you would want somebody to give, maybe it's a message. So after somebody filling in, we can have a message. So a message is given in so for example, this is a password. A password will have an input type password. Let's just have a message. So a message will be having it in a text area. So a text area is will give you a box whereby you'll be filling so many things. So we can say a message. It will have also an ID of message. These are the columns and the rows of that text area, how it will be. Okay, let me save it and just look at what we'll be doing. So here is our form, even though it's just below. Let me just make so many lines so that we can be able to see. So this is the form that we've created. You can see we have the first name, last name, email, and the email. So let me just still make it look better. So in the form, before the form, you can say we have an H2. You can say contact me. Over here, we can say, how does it look? Okay. So we can say before the first name, we'll be breaking a line. So we'll be breaking a line here. And then so we're breaking the line. I think this is good. Let me look how it looks. Yeah, some are better. And the email still needs to be. We'll break another line for just visibility. Okay, it's not always good to just break lines so many times. Whenever we learn CSS, we'll be able to learn how you can now have these things on a better distance. Okay, and then we have the last thing that we'll show is a button. So after doing something, we'll have a submit button. So the name is just a button. So that's a button tag, and that is submit. Done. So you can see below here we have a submit button. But whenever we click it, nothing will happen because we have not added any functionality to this form of ours. So these are a form of how you can have things. So and this is how you build this website with some tags that we've learned. And I hope that I can't say this is the only tags that we have. I can say we have so many tags because we have not covered even half of them. So this was just to introduce you like how do you arrange things in a website. So this can look like a website that was written by somebody who was trying to learn something. As we move forward, we'll now try and learn like how do we have this image parallel to the text, like how do we have it come over the other side. So that's why we'll have to come and learn CSS. But for now, it was just, or for today, we just learn like what are the different things that we have on our website. And also to remind you that I'm giving you an assignment. Just go to W3 schools and just learn how to have a table. So you see here, HTML tables. How do we write a table in an HTML file? So by clicking tables, let it load. You see, they'll be able to give you an example of what a table is. You can see it starts with a table. You have a table row, table headers. So these are the things that you can go there, try it by itself, yourself, bring all this code and just try it on your VS Code. Just copy it over here. Just copy and then come to your VS Code and try and copy it. Or just come and paste it. So whenever you do something like this, you'll be able to learn so many things from it. You can see it doesn't look good, so it's down below here, just a simple thing. So I just want you to go there, learn how this is done. And I can tell you, by trying so many things, that's how you get to learn. So you don't have to be perfect with it when you start. So that was our introduction to HTML and some of the tags. Okay, and we'll continue next week with other tags and yes, next week we'll continue with other tags. So the part that has remained is the part on Git and GitHub. So we were to start with Git and GitHub, but it's good to teach someone Git and GitHub after they learn even what HTML or like why do you use even Git and GitHub? So Git you use it when you have files like this. For example, this is an index.html file, but it's always not good for you to have this file just on your local computer. So you can now want it to have it on a remote repository or in the cloud. So the purposes of having to learn Git and GitHub or let me just first talk about what is GitHub in the first place. GitHub is like a folder that or a repository or a cloud that you have elsewhere, but not in your computer. So let's say, for example, that my Windows machine just breaks down now and I had so many projects in my laptop. So it means that I will just lose my project like that. But having them on GitHub, it means that I'll be able to go there and recover it. The second thing that is important for you to learn about GitHub is that you'll be able to collaborate with other developers. So when I have this code over here, it's also hard for me and you to collaborate on this project because it's only available for me. But by having it on GitHub, it will now be available for you and for me so that we can work on the same project. But how can we have this code go to the GitHub? How can we shift them from my computer to GitHub? So that's why I told you to install Git. So Git is a control version, or is it a control version? Yes. That if I'm to explain what a control version is, take for example when you're playing a game in a phone, and then you just left it you've played a game to a level 2 level, and then later on when you want to come and continue the game, and then you find that the game starts from 0, then it will bother you like, why do I have to start again? So Git will now be something like that thing that will give you to get started from where you left. So let's say, for example, we are uh, like when working with a project, you see we have different features that you're working with a project. So let's say, for example, today we just write this is our project for today, right? But tomorrow we might say, okay, we want to continue with this project and write so many things. So by saying, okay, having to learn Git is like, okay, today we've learned this and we are just posting here, but tomorrow we want to continue. So Git will be able to track that, hey, yesterday you were able to do. It just keeps track of whatever things that you do. So let's just get started. So you can work with Git by using the Git bash, but I want to be using the Git bash because whenever you install Git, it will also be installed in your system, and also it will be available in your Visual Studio Code. Just to cover something is the commands. So these are the commands that you'll be having is the bash commands. And the people who have been using Linux have been able to interact with these commands. So let's just cover the commands over here, and then we just go to Visual Studio Code and also do the same thing. Okay, I think I have to enable this so that you can be able to see. Is my screen visible at that level? Somebody confirm.
Yes, it's
Okay,
visible.
thank you. So the first thing that we'll cover is one command that we'll cover is the list command, the ls command. So before we cover the ls command, let's cover the print working directory, pwd. So it will tell us where we are located in our machine. We can see that it tells us you are in users Kemboy. Whenever I say users Kemboy, it's the same thing that you have here. Like for example, whenever you're in this part, you can see that it tells you that you're on C. But whenever I go to users, you can tell me that I'm in users folder. The same thing that I'm having here on the bash. So it tells me that I'm on C users Keyboard. So next thing that I can say, okay, I want to know whatever files or folders that we have in that folder. So we are having folders inside folders. So to see them, we'll have the ls command. It's just to say, can you list? You can see it gives me so many lists of folders that we have. So let's say I want to go to the desktop because these are desktop documents, downloads, and so many others. So what you do, I can say because it has covered our screen, let me clear the screen, just right clear. Go to the desktop folder, you can see CD is to say change directory to the desktop. You can see CD to desktop. It's just saying now can you move from Kemboy folder, go to the desktop folder. You can see here on the at the end we have the desktop. Now when I do the ls, it's just list what is available on the desktop. You can see we have so many folders, and the project that we're working on is the web development folder. So you can be able now to say let's CD also change directory to web dev folder. Going there, we are now inside the folder. We can now ls to list. See, we have the images folder that we created, and we have the index.html. So let me clear the screen also to also talk about a command. So let me just ls again. So we can see you have two items inside. We have a folder and we have a file. So how do you create a file? You just create a file by saying touch. So these are the things that you have to learn them with time. They are not so hard to know them. So we can say touch, maybe we say styles.css, press enter. There's nothing telling me that I have created that styles.css. But whenever I do an ls, you can see I have a styles.css. I have created another file. So these are the basic commands that we wanted us to learn before we start getting started on Git. So when we say Git, whenever we're building Git, we'll be writing commands that start with a Git. So let's say I want to check the version that I'm using. I'll say Git version. You can see it tells me I'm on version 2.40 and that. So those were the commands that we wanted to cover on that. Let me just go and continue with my Visual Studio Code. So To use Git on Visual Studio Code, where we have been doing so many things, it's always good to have it here because it's not like it's not comfortable for you just moving from one application to another application to use the same thing. So you'll have to press Control tilde. You'll be having the integrated terminal. The other way how you can get into the terminal, just go, I think it's always on the top. Yeah, let me find it. You can see whenever you click this and you can find the terminal here, and you can see new terminal. It gives you the same terminal. So by default, I have git bash. So this is the same thing that we've been using from the other application. Whenever I do git version, you can see I'm still on the same version of git bash. So let's just now learn Git and GitHub. Okay, first thing is to check the directory that I am in. So ls, you can see I'm on the exact directory. So this is the good thing of using the integrated terminal. It just gives you the exact location that you are in. But this does not limit you to navigating to other directories. So I'm in the exact folder that I am in. And this is something I want to emphasize. Where do you initialize your Git? So let me go to the project that we have. So this is our project where we are having all the things working or our project working. So this is where you initialize your Git. So you don't initialize your Git inside images, but you initialize your Git inside the outer folder of your project. So that is where you initialize it. So to initialize a Git, you just say Git init. So Git init is just say initialize Git inside our project. It's just tell Git now I want you now to start working on or start stacking on this folder. Then press enter. Just find a message saying initialize empty Git repository. So that's how you initialize a Git repository. And you can find it's written master. So it means that we are on a master branch. So we'll be talking about branches. I'm not sure if we'll cover branches today, but as we go along and also collaborating on projects, we'll be talking about branches. Okay, let me go back to the folder. And then you can see over you have a .git folder that has been created. So this folder is a folder that has been generated to keep track of this folder. So if you don't see this folder, I want you to just go to view and then make sure you check this checkbox of hidden items so that you'll be able to see the .git folder. Nice. So the next thing that you do is configure your Git. So once you get started, you'll be having your Git will not know who is using this Git. So you'll have to configure your Git. So to configure it is to make Git know that who is the user that is using this Git, like it's like just registering yourself. So you now have the Git, this command that you'll use git config. So git config is git configure, then the global is to configure, like, so that next time whenever you come, it will still remember who is the user of this machine, or who is the person who wants to keep track of their files. So git config global user dot name. So this command is to say that I want to configure Git to take my name. So now give my name. So don't just give your username. I want you to give the name that you gave yourself on GitHub. You can go to GitHub account, just github.com. You can see this is my username, Kimboy590. So when configuring your Git, please configure it with the details that you registered with. So that's Kimboy590. So this is GitHub. You can see this is my name, Kimboy590. Then just press enter. You can see now it has taken my name, but how will I confirm my name? So to confirm your name, you say git config user dot name alone. You can see it gives the name Kimboy590. Nice. So let me clear the screen so that we can configure our email address. So configure our email address, we'll write also the same thing, git config global user, but this time round it will be .email. So I want also you to configure your Git with the email that you have on your GitHub. So I'm sure that you can still remember the email address that you used in your registration for GitHub. So please use that email. So my email is bkboy590@gmail.com. So this is the email that you should use. So to confirm your email, you just say git config user dot email. So you can see your email bkboy590.com. Nice. At gmail.com. So you have configured your username and your email address. So your Git now knows who is using this, who wants to be tracked or who's using it. So that is it. So after that, you now want to learn another command known as git add. So git add is a command to now stage all your files. So first thing of all, you can notice that all these files are turned to a different color. They are now like green color. The green color is to tell you that the files that you have are not being tracked. Like nobody is monitoring them. And the work of Git is to monitor all your files if they are being tracked. So by using the command git add, it's like saying, hey, I want you now to monitor my project or my folders. So it will monitor the images folder, the index.html and the CSS. So press enter. So git add and then give a dot. You can see nothing happened. So then the next thing that you'll do is to commit. To commit is saying that, hey, I'm now assuring that I want you to commit this. So you have to give it a message. So you say git init -m for messages for a message and say maybe say my first commit. So by that, I now press enter. So you can see now it starts saying that the message that you're passing, and this message must be a message that makes some sense. Like whenever you're working with a project, and then I told you like, okay, I want you to insert an image, and I want you to give a description like how we've done with our project. So whenever you want to commit, I want you to commit to the exact message. Maybe you say I've added an image and added some text. Like it must be an official thing because this commit message will also be seen by other developers that you're working with. You can see here the three files has been changed, and the three files that has been changed, we have the images folder, the index.html and CSS, and now their colors has changed. Okay, so the other thing I want us to talk about is how can we have now all our files go away from, not go away, like how can we have a copy of this in our GitHub? So let's go to our GitHub. This is our GitHub account, or not our, these are my GitHub account. I'm sorry for the internet. The internet is somewhat slow. So inside the internet, the GitHub, I want you to go to your repository is like just like a folder. So this is a folder that's available on the cloud. Just loading. So it's just waiting for this to load. The link can be able to ask questions of something that you feel that rushing on it. Also to confirm if you can still hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay, let's just give it some time. I don't know what's happening in my internet. I think it's just getting slow. And we'll be ending it in a short while because I think we have been having a very long session. Then it's going down. So the thing that we have to do now is just to create a repository, and then we'll have to take some other commands to just now have our repository or folders or our projects inside our GitHub. So that's what is remaining. So here it is. So once you click on repositories, you'll see this icon that's new repository. Just click on new. I'm sorry for the internet, it's just getting slower and slower. Let me try and connect to a different network because it's getting slow and slow. So this a repository. So the repository, you have to give it a name, just like a folder. So you can say intro to web development, intro web, just the name of it. So you can give a description to describe the folder. You can say it's optional, it's not a must. So you can say project, and then you can keep it as public or private, but I'll keep mine as public so that whenever we are working with other different people, I want them to see the repository itself. So you can add a README file or not. So README file will talk about what it is. So let's just create a repository. So just give a name and a description and just create the repository. So that's what we've done. So after you create a repository, this is what it will show you. So when you're creating a new repository, you'll be having some commands over here. Or if you have an existing repository, you have an existing command line, you use these other commands over here. So because we have an existing command line repository existing, so we'll use this command. So you just copy this line of code. It says git remote add origin. So the origin name is like giving a link or just like giving another .git in the cloud. So we can see this. It's available in the folder .git. It's available on your local machine. So the same .git should be also available in the cloud. So just copy this first line of code, this line of command, and then just go there and paste it. So paste it, you can see it's done. So the second one, git branch main. So git branch main is like saying, hey, can you change from master go to main? So let me clear the screen so that you can be able to see here. So I'm now on the master branch, but if I give that command git branch main, it will now change it from master to main. Click enter. You can see now it's on a main branch. And the last thing that you'll do is git push. So I'll just copy this, so simple, copy and then paste it in a command line. Sorry, I never copied. So I have to just copy and then paste it over here. Same to origin main. So it's just pushing all your changes to main. So this will take all your files, all your folders to the new the repository that we've. It tells you that all those files have been pushed to the repository. So we just go there and confirm by refreshing our page. Yeah, you can see now everything is up to date. So we have some errors because I think that's the internet. So let me just push for the second time. Okay, I'm sorry, the internet is running low and low. But everything I think is already on the repository. So just give it some few minutes. And then when that is done, we'll just close today's session. And then next week, we'll also be able to proceed from where we left. So as we progress, we'll be able to learn so many Git commands because we can't cover them within this short period of time. So, let me take the questions as this is refreshing. Somebody with a question, you can be able to take it as from now. Anybody with a question or a concern or a proposal, this is the time. When everything is set, let me now refresh the page. If there's anything maybe you never understood, this is the time. So you can see everything is now uploaded. How is it going again? So here is it. So this is the folder that we had, the images folder, the index.html, and the CSS folder. So whatever we have now, we had in our computer is now available here. So next week we'll be able to now learn how can you clone this project. Let's say, for example, how can you be able to now take it from your GitHub to your local environment. So for today, it was just to show you like how do you have to push them from your local computer to the GitHub repository. So and this is how you can have your project on GitHub. So thank you so much for attending the session. And today we've learned so many things from the basics of HTML and Git and GitHub. Thank you. In Sotoma.